we just won. We don't have to prove anything to anybody. Yeah, it could be 135, 140 games.
Or just the defense locks down. It's like 98, 97.
They had the Buffalo Bill run.
We're Kerry Kittles if you're Thurman Thomas. Welcome to another exciting episode of Please Dunk Responsibly. I'm one of your hosts, Ben Rice. With me, as always, my co-host,
Phil Webster. Here we go. Second round.
Yeah. We did an episode right around the time that they were like getting to go into the play-in round. They're like, we'll be back to talk about the actual playoffs. No, we never did that. As has been the 2022-2023 curse. I'm sorry, 2021-2022 curse.
Yes.
We have not. Yes. Correct.
I mean, if we needed to see any revelations from the previous round, it's that the Timberwolves are almost there.
Yeah.
The teams that we thought they would be. Memphis has arrived. They're going to be around for a while.
Which we said last year because it looked so good.
Yeah, I mean, we were saying as long as John Morant doesn't get hurt, this team is only going to get better.
And then he got hurt and they still got better.
Yeah, and they were actually better without him somehow.
Yeah. I love it.
Yeah, it's great. It's good what good drafting and development could do on Kings or, any other franchise that's struggling.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the playoffs in round one and, really, if you take, oh, man, our guys got injured. I mean, all these teams are spectacular other than the Utah Jazz.
Yes, the Utah Jazz proved again.
Regular season means nothing.
In the regular season, until you're the Utah Jazz, so until you prove otherwise, we just can't believe in you. And they've struggled even mightier this year with the same roster and not a lot of change. And now we have to deal with the Gobert, Mitchell drama and debacle. Is that just going to get blown up, you think? It has to.
It has to. They're capped out at round one of the playoffs, no matter what their seed, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It doesn't matter. They're capped out round one.
Yeah.
You've got to admit that that's not working.
You got to be, when a team with a Doncic Maverick team puts it on you.
Yeah.
You get 40, scored 41 on, you gotta.
That's a wrap.
Yeah. Somebody's got to go. It might be the coach, but I mean,
look, we already talked about how many dead homeless people there are in that guy's basement. And he's adding to it this year. That was ugly. But yeah, man, they might as well call him the Utah Kenny G's.
Oh.
They have no ability to improvise or do something in the moment. It's
one note.
Jazz is an insult. Yeah.
They're 1-0 right now.
But that's even an insult too, because Miles Davis made a whole song that's literally just 2 notes with some improvisation over it, and it's incredible. So maybe the 1 note's the problem. They just need to add 1 note, and we can't do it. To
be a playoff team, obviously, and being the resident Kings fan here, I would take it a heartbeat. But there has to be frustration with the amount of talent that they have. And clearly, again, it's not working. Mitchell's not really looking for Gobert. Gobert seems like he's reluctant, and then he just pries at him in the media because he's a very intelligent man. So he's going to come at him and tell him about other guards that he prefers better and not speak about Mitchell, which, of course, is just going to make that thing keep going. I don't think he goes to the Knicks, but I wouldn't mind seeing Gobert on another team. There's no way they're gonna get rid of Mitchell. They just paid him both basically, right? So somebody's got.
Well, I mean, at the end of the day, Gobert's Gobert. You're getting the same thing from him every year, in and out. Mitchell is up and down. I feel like he's actually gotten worse as time has gone on, and he's starting to show some injury bug stuff. I don't know. I don't think you build a team around Donovan Mitchell. I don't think you build a team around Gobert, but he's easier to plug in elsewhere.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a Donovan Mitchell just doesn't trust anybody else on his team thing, or like he's too heavy, in which, there's just a lot of bricks. Again, he 2 years ago, like,
incredible.
Murray and him going at it 60-point games back and forth with each other, and then now you have, like, he's got more turnovers than assists. He's turning
shooting like 40%, not
45, not great. Yeah, like really bad from three. And yeah, it just gets tougher and tougher, and he needs help, obviously. Somebody complimentary offensively, and it seems like, like he just feels with his game, him and Gobert just don't.
They don't. It's not quite Tyreek Evans, DeMarcus Cousins, like you're doing the same thing, taking up the same space type thing, but it's close. He's not a shooter, and neither was Tyreek, and they both need to operate near the basket, but they're taking up each other's space to do it.
Yeah. And again, one person isn't inclined. Like, Mitchell's not a very inclined passer. He's definitely much more of a slasher scorer, and Gobert is more defensive, and he is regulated on people because of his limited skill set to offensively, that he needs people to feed him the ball. And if you don't have anybody who can do that, don't have a true point guard, you're operating on Mitchell creating it. That's good stuff.
Obviously, we solved this problem just real easy. Gobert for Simmons, right? That solves everything. Right? You give Mitchell a proper point guard, and also the kind of that defensive presence, making the point guard play center on defense, and then Gobert's over there just being like the actual interior presence the Nets don't have.
Oh, no, right. And this is the other thing we talked about a couple podcasts ago, where it's like, again, can you win with your center being your second best player, or your,
I mean, Joel Embiid might be able to prove that if he can come back healthy, but
if we can, but again, we haven't seen it yet.
Yeah, no, that's not true either. I was like, what about Brooke Lopez in Milwaukee? Then I'm like, no, Chris Middleton's the second best player, you idiot. There's an argument Jrue Holiday's the third best player. So I'm like just gonna talk out my ass and be wrong a lot, as is, you may have noticed.
As we all, yes, as we all do. But what are we drinking here?
Oh, boy. Yeah, yes, please dunk responsibly, right? Beer and basketball podcast. We compare players to beers, beers to players, teams to breweries, and eras to, positions to styles, eras to whatever. There's so much.
Yes,
we only compare players to beers. That's pretty much
that's the 90% of it, and then every now and then during the off season we get into breweries and stuff.
Yeah,
but I think we're both drinking pills.
Yeah, we are.
Where's yours from?
So mine is from Tilted Mash Brewing in Elk Grove, 6th anniversary collaboration with Almanac Brewing. It's called Friends in High Places West Coast Pilsner, coming in at 5.5%. Now this one, West Coast Pilsner, you're like, what is that?
Yeah.
Imagine you're using a Pilsner base and then just hopping the shit out of it like it's an IPA. Okay. Basically, we got, let's see here. We got.
They're East Coast.
So we liquid salvo hops in the kettle, dry hopped with Cryo Simcoe. And then slamming a ton of hops into the mash as well. Golden Promise malt. So that's.
Collabs were really good this year.
Yeah.
I was pleasantly surprised. Tilted Mash is coming up. I actually saw Jonathan over Sac Beer Week on the final weekend, and great things. Love that guy. Yeah. It seems like they're all trying to do the right thing. They're collabing with some great breweries.
Yeah, they knocked it out of the park this year.
Yeah, so this year for sure. Like, I had their farmhouse ale.
Yeah, so good.
So good,
God,
man.
Damn, with Ghost Town? Oh my goodness. I just assumed it was an IPA, cracked it open. I'm like, this smells different.
Yeah.
Like, what do you mean you made a farmhouse? And it was so perfect.
And he said that they saved some of it and are barrel aging it to turn it into a saison later, which I thought was amazing. So I'm excited. I love where they're going with it. They're really stepping up their game. I'm having Dunloe Brewing's their Aimless pills. With just a single hop. It's a Laurel hop.
Okay.
Very bright, kind of tart. Very floral, beautiful beer. Very crisp.
Is it a little bit? It feels like it's a little bit woody. Is there a little bit of?
It is a little wood
Oh
there.
God damn it! I can taste this beer.
It's not a Czech, which is what we prefer. It's not that crispy, but it is. It is very nice and refreshing. It's delicious.
That sounds amazing. Everything they do in Davis, check them out. More than suit work in that town. Everybody down there is so great.
Oh my God, yes, they kill with everything that they can, and anything you see from Dunloe,
just buy it.
Their prices
Oh my God,
$2 to $3 cheaper on a 4-pack, and you're not gonna miss. Like, you see spandex out there, you see miscellaneous drawer, I think it's called, like all that kind of stuff. It's like just amazing.
They had a barrel aged like 14% stout. It was like $6. I'm like, what is wrong with you? I mean, I love it, but like, you need to make money at this at some point. But they're like, I don't care.
Killing it, but get these guys when you see them. They're delicious.
Yeah. So we're drinking Pilsners. We're both drinking Pilsners. One's a revolutionary Pilsner, trying to make it like an IPA, and here's more of a classic style with some more modern hopping. So it seems like we should be talking. I think it's the playoffs. Point guards matter. We should discuss it.
Any more of these past round games you want to get into before
we start comparing stuff?
Yeah. I mean, obviously the Nets.
Oh boy.
We didn't think they lose like they lost.
No, oh my goodness.
But good Lord, what a flame out. Like, I mean, you know me. I mean, like, I jumped off of Giannis because he's done his thing, no matter how much we made fun of him. And now I'm really on Kyrie, and I'm just over Kyrie in every way, shape, or form, and his antics and just everything about him. Usually that guy who thinks he knows best, without having any facts or anything like that, usually has not gone well. And he kind of proved that right there. Like, you can't just wake up in the morning, no matter how good you are at basketball, and just decent team.
It's still work. You're in the NBA. It's the best 220 guys in the world right now.
Right.
You can't just walk in there and feel like you own it. And I don't care how good Boston got down the stretch. That was an embarrassing series for the Nets.
Yeah, and Boston's great, right? Like,
they've definitely turned it on, like one of the best defenses in the NBA. A crazy finish, but that was you got to take two. You got to get to Game 7 with those guys. You're the Nets.
No, right, exactly. And a lot of those games were close games. Even Durant, he gets some of the blame. He missed shots down the stretch. He missed free throws down the stretch. He has
to do so much because
and don't get me wrong, like he had injuries, but he was there the most. But you could see, even with trading Block Harden, like he got out of there. It was such a mess. Like, I think the reason they got together, obviously, is because they wanted the power, the ownership aspect of being able to bring people in, bring people out, try to make moves and stuff like that. They were going to get that with Brooklyn. That's why I think they did what they did. It was a opportunity, especially doing it for a franchise that, is in a big market, but hadn't won anything, not a real history. So they could,
didn't they win like 04 or something? Or did
they went there 4 times with Kidd. Right. So they had the Buffalo Bill run.
Oh, that's right. Classic New York teams.
Just ran up against those Lakers and West Coast and Spurs a couple times, I think. And there you go. Like, poor Jason Kidd.
Jason Kidd is Jim Kelly, and somehow Keith Van Horn is Andre Rison. That's
oh my God. No, that's our problems right there.
Like, we weren't going to win as soon as that came up.
No.
Or Andre Reed. Jesus, I said Rison. Andre Reed. Sorry about that.
Yes.
Or Thurman Thomas. We can, whatever way you want to go with it.
Whatever way. That's probably
where Kerry Kittles is your Thurman Thomas.
That's also not great. That is not.
There we go. I found it.
Good Lord, there we go. Can you imagine what Jason Kidd did with that roster? Are you kidding me?
I know.
Unbelievable.
And this kind of leads to a question I had. Can great basketball players make great basketball coaches?
Ooh.
Because Steve Nash flamed out. Jason Kidd does okay, but he usually gets in his own way.
Yeah. But usually point guards are good coaches, but usually not great point guards.
Right.
Scott Skiles was a
good coach. Solid player. Knew how to get buckets when he needed them, but he didn't shoot a lot.
And usually, and I think Frank Vogel was a point guard at one point, but
Scotty
never.
Brooks.
Obviously, Scotty Brooks. Again, get the X's and O's of knowing where people need to be, but wasn't good, like physically. And we throw that to I make that analogy to Cam Newton and just Brady, and why it's like physical strength gets you so far where you feel like you just take mental days off because it just comes to you.
Yeah, Kyrie took a whole half a year off, every other day off.
Kyrie's another one where it's like you just don't put that extra work in, where Manning and these guys who are physically limited know that they have to beat you with their mind. Like, they can't beat you with their physical abilities all the time. They have to think ahead of you. Yeah. And there's just not a lot of guys doing that right now.
Yeah, and those are guys that broke down tape for hours. But I was thinking about this earlier, and I was like, Steve Nash doesn't do it. I was watching Jason Kidd on the sideline tonight, and I was like, oh yeah, he was also a great point guard, like that just had this incredible vision and knew all these things. Yes. And the problem is, when you're like naturally gifted in reading the floor, and like it just comes so naturally to you, you can't teach that to somebody who doesn't have it. And that's the barrier, I think, for great players, is they see things, but they cannot explain how to see it. They can't tell you, this is what I'm seeing, and here's how you should interpret it. They can't explain that verbally. No. They just know it naturally. Like, I'm pretty good with math, right? And I tried to teach math to people who had no concept of how numbers work together. And I was like, this is impossible. If you don't understand the relationship of this and this, I don't know how. If you don't naturally understand that,
you can't break it down in layman terms.
To me, it's so obvious how it works. These things work together. Because I was like thinking about
teachers get paid more. That's how it should work.
Yeah, and I wasn't a teacher. I was like in 10th grade. I was like trying to teach these like 9th graders how to do like algebra. And I'm like, if you don't understand that the X means a number every time, I don't know how to. If you can't understand that 2 plus X equals 5 is the same as 5 minus 2 equals 3, I don't know how to help you.
Right.
Like if you can't even wrap your head around that is the same way as saying this. You need
to go back. Yeah, you need to go back a little ways.
I have nothing I can offer you.
Yeah.
So I think that's kind of, they're doing trigonometry where the other guys are like, hey man, I'm just doing my pluses and minuses or my times tables. And it's hard to get that across.
We're dealing with they're dealing with superstars in a way that's different, and dealing with guys that are already making like incredible amounts of money and don't need to learn, right? So it's like, that's where I feel like Nash is kind of caught between a rock and a hard place, because
if they win, it's not
dominated. His fault. Yeah, if he wins, it's not because of him. And if they lose, it's because he can't coach them. Yeah. And obviously Kyrie is uncoachable. He already feels like he has the power, right? Same thing with Durant, even though Durant does seem coachable and does seem like he wants to get better, which is why I don't know how this works and why Kyrie is involved besides the partnership issue. Is the only thing I can think of is that somebody agreed with Kyrie at Brooklyn to make that happen. And he was like, they were like, if you can bring Durant here, you guys we'll give you partnership.
I feel like both of them were like, hey man, we both know we won these championships for our team, but nobody gives us the credit. What if we team up and prove that we're the guys that won these championships? And they're like, fucking done deal. Let's do it. Let's show the world what we got. Yeah. And then they just fell on their faces.
Well, yeah.
I mean, they got hurt.
And they needed to go to a place so they could have autonomy. Yeah. They can bring in their guys.
Where nobody could say it was somebody else doing it.
No, right. Exactly. So they wanted to be LeBron.
Yeah, and Steph.
And Steph, and they want to see like how hard it really is to do that. It's not that easy.
Turns out hard. Harder than you think. Oof, I'm taking it back. This is not my best episode. I'm not doing great here. Phil, help me out. No. But yeah, I was just like watching these playoffs. Like, it's such a. So I follow this this YouTuber, Basketball Time Machine. Do you ever watch that channel at all?
Yes, a little bit. Yes.
Yes, that dude's super old school, kind of hates the current NBA. He's like, hey, these playoffs, these are the kinds of basketball games I like. I'm like, yeah, dude, this is a beautiful blend of old school, like beat 'em up in the posts, like play hard-nosed defense, along with these, like, shoot from 40 feet, fucking bonkers dunks, like smooth criminal style offense. I was like, man, this is exactly what basketball should be. It's the blend of both, the best of both worlds, getting rid of all the garbage, that each version has.
Well, yeah, and especially now we're getting into that second round.
Yeah,
like I feel like we're getting to the team that should be here.
Like Toronto has that. It's got the 12 people coming up. Philadelphia's got an old school bruiser. Dallas. I mean, like all these teams, other than like Minnesota for now, Chicago definitely. Atlanta, maybe. All these guys have that in some respect.
They do have it. And at least you can see the building blocks too of them trying to complement them, like in a way that maybe like the NFL kind of started doing with young quarterbacks. It's like, oh, if we're going to get this young quarterback, maybe instead of trying to get him to learn all our offense, let's make an offense that works for him. So then he'll flourish. And it seems like the NBA is starting to do that with their young guys and just putting people like Doncic, like already got rid of Porzingis, right? Like they were just like, this is not working. We're going another way. And like Trae Young, I'm sure they're going to end up doing the same thing and just realize like he clearly doesn't have enough help. They're going to have to make some changes there. Maybe trade Bogdanovich, maybe, trade a couple of those other guys. Who knows?
Get a new coach.
Yeah, coach. Well, we told you about that. We tried to tell you people. You didn't listen. But yeah, I mean, these rounds seem to have the best teams. I mean, the Bucks, Celtics seem like my favorite.
That's bloodbath. Love it.
I think those 6 games.
Streets of Rage 2. Oh my.
Oh, so great. So great. Good soundtrack on that game.
Yeah. Killed it.
Oh my God. They just these are just going to go back and forth. It's going to be a Tatum game. There's already been a Giannis game. He's not even going to have Middleton, so he's just going to take over.
Yeah.
You already know what's going to happen. And it's just, I mean, he just literally, they shut down Durant, and now we just seen a guy super athletic, hasn't really had a major knee injury, and he was still faster than everybody else. It was just unbelievable him getting to the hole.
Yeah, God. I love it. And Robert Williams versus Giannis. Let's see what that is. This like young upstart, like second-year player, just blocking shots like a madman, getting physical.
He's just
this
not
other
as athletic, but he's not as athletic. But
who is more athletic than Giannis?
That's why it's so crazy. He's LeBron. He's longer. And he's
LeBron if LeBron was Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes, LeBron was 7 feet in that 6'10", 6'9". Yes, this is what he would be. This is like just insane reach, insane defense, like timing. It's just he's everywhere. He's everywhere, and it's like he has like somehow.
Do you think he could go down as the greatest player of all time if he continues to bud? He's like 27.
I know. And he had
and where he went from 18 to 23, where he was really
what does
not.
He have like 5 more years? You think of good?
At least 5, 6, 7 years, where he just gets better as a playmaker. Just get the fuck out of here,
dude. I
think it's old man strength. Give him old man strength. Come on.
The problem you always worry about is obviously if he doesn't get hurt. Could he go? He could definitely. There's gonna be more people. He's never going to pass LeBron because he's never going to be polarizing enough, but he's going to be top 3.
He's not going to have the vision.
He's going to pass Durant. He's already there. He's probably close. People already want Tatum close. I think if Tatum wins for the Celtics, he's going to be, 1 is going to count for 2 for Durant because Durant left and he went to a bucket hanging team basically to get it.
How about this? Giannis stays with the Bucks forever, never leaves. Is he the best Buck of all time? Screw you, Oscar Robertson. Screw you, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Yes.
Hey, Ray Allen, eat it. Is that?
He's already
like the second best. Even
he never left.
Even the Big O, like man, whatever.
They're gonna get one more. You gotta think he's at least gonna get one more, if not this year, next year. Like if I would take them right now, even over the Warriors. The Warriors are playing great, but they're missing a ton of shots. Like they're getting a lot of shots off.
It's looking a lot like a rematch of last year, Bucks Suns Part 2. I'm down for it. I want it. I want to see it. This stuff's still fun to watch. I'm just like, this is what it's gonna be, and I love it.
They're gonna get Middleton and
back. Just in time.
It's just disgusting.
And Devin Booker's gonna like be fully healed.
Yeah, it could be 135, 140 games. And
or just the defense locks down. It's like 98, 97. And it's like,
I love that too.
Yeah, and like Giannis goes off for like 42 points out of 86. You know, it's just like, oh, God.
Exactly. Like, just get everybody in foul trouble. Yeah. You get Chris Paul trying to punch him in the nuts. Like, you put everybody in the nuts. And,
man.
Chris Paul just is cursed. Like, can't win.
Yeah. Oh, man. No, I love it so much.
Great series.
I love it.
Heat look good, but I mean,
look good.
Like they're just deep. They're deep. Nobody's super great. This is what we talked about when in the bubble. Like they're, it's the same team. It's just you don't know who's gonna. The Max Struses of the world. It's Duncan Robinson's
on the bench because of that dude.
No, he's not even playing.
Yeah, and they brought in PJ Tucker. What a pickup!
What a pickup.
You're already a hard-nosed. Everybody works their butts off. Then you put like one of the hardest working butts in there. With Jimmy Butler? Are you kidding me?
Is he the opposite of Jay Crowder? Like, he's like on the other side of the winning team. Does it seem like that? Like he's the same D and 3 guy, but he actually gets it done. Yeah. And doesn't just like, try to put.
I'm just going to say this. Somebody was listening because Jay Crowder's changed his playing style since somebody on this podcast made a suggestion about Jay Crowder's tendencies. And all of a sudden, those tendencies have gone away.
Oh, all of these things are it's so funny. The things
they were there the day I watched a game with him that day, and it was still there. And then like a week later, no longer there.
Not so much.
Huh.
He is playing better. He's shooting a lot better. Taking less shots. I don't know if that's just
getting rid of those early in the play clock threes on the off the break. Yeah,
like he's not trying to do where Draymond just realized, I can't shoot anymore. Like I'm not shooting threes. Like before, he was like, if I was wide open, I could make a couple threes. Like he's not even bothering. Like he's in Iguodala. Like no, we're done doing that.
Like tonight, he committed a late foul in the game, but I watched it. I'm like, nah, that guy tripped and he got called for the foul. So like even that, we're like, because you watched the game tonight, Mavericks versus Suns, where it's like, it's a blowout. Then all of a sudden the Mavericks started coming back at the end. I'm like, look, Jay Crowder Jay Crowder. He got called for a foul that helped get the game to like 7 or 6, but he didn't foul him. The guy tripped and he was there.
And he's a perfect matchup for Doncic and all of those guys that are rotating them all. So one guy does, so Crowder doesn't just get into foul trouble just trying to chase him down. They got your boy Johnson on him occasionally, and Malik Bridges. I mean that guy's amazing. Mikal Bridges, excuse me. That guy is amazing too. I think
great.
He's another. I mean, he's just a plug-in guy you can put anywhere, and he's pretty athletic.
I think last time we talked about it, we're like, he's 2 or 3 years away, and now he's one of the best defensive players in the NBA. Like a year later,
he's gonna be unheralded, because he's just on a team where there's gonna be four bigger names, but they don't do it without him. Like that guy coming, he can come off the bench. He just changes that second unit and down the stretch. Like he's just so long and he can rip up and down the court. He can score. Like that's who you want. That's just who you want down the stretch on the team.
I could talk about the Suns forever. Honestly, I could just.
All these teams are really, really good. Everybody deserves to be there, even the 76ers.
Yeah. Unfortunately, hamstrung. I'm like so boned. I want to see full strength.
No, it's not fair. It's not. It's really not fair.
That's the playoffs, baby.
Ugh. It is the playoffs. What, Doc Rivers, what are you doing with him out there with 3 minutes to go, up 30 almost? Like, what are you doing? Can you You stop Doc Rivers. Like, I can't keep defending him. Like, I love me some Doc Rivers. I didn't know I had to defend him. Like, obviously his tenure with the Clippers did not work out great, but
because he was coaching the Clippers.
But he had like he had terrible injuries, bad luck, and Paul George was just bad too. Yeah, exactly, and just coaching the Clippers. Yeah, you get Kawhi, who's hurt all the time. PJ is like Chris Paul, who gets hurt in the playoffs all the time. Like, what are you like? You're done. You're done for. Somebody's going down for you. And Doc is really good at coaching personalities, which is great. But it's just nowadays he's just there. Yeah. He can't get any grip. Yeah, you need the X and O's, and you need healthy people. You need stars that are actually gonna play most of the time. And maybe this might be a way for him to get to the Lakers. Who knows?
Yeah, barring a miracle, and
he's not getting out of this round. We already know that, unfortunately. Even if Embiid comes back in Game 3, even, I mean, that would be the greatest comeback ever, and Embiid should have won it, in late game MVP, if there's such a thing. He should just playoff MVP for coming back and winning 4 straight against the Heat, if he can, with Bam Adebayo playing the way he is. He's
one of those guys. You look at him, his body is not an old school NBA guy, but the way he plays, like, just put your body on him, grab the rebound, like dish the assist.
No.
Sacrifice your body for everything. He plays like he's 260 pounds, 280 pounds.
He doesn't look physically dominant. Yeah. It's not like he's like Ben Wallace, where you're just like, oh, I get it. This is what this guy does, and he's formidable. It's like he has to have an Achilles heel of not being able to shoot because he's just a brick wall. Like, but now you have Bam, and Bam could do it all. He could shoot. He can play. He can guard a point guard. He's so quick.
That's gonna be
just them and the Bucks. That's gonna be a great series.
I think we already touched on it briefly. Oh, like maybe we didn't. God. Yeah. I think it's the same thing.
No, we were talking more about the finals,
deep,
but
the Heat are deep.
I think just
like the Heat can't shoot threes. That's. Yeah. I mean,
we're assuming it's Suns Warriors, correct? And we're assuming it's going to be Bucks Heat.
Memphis can't do something because I feel like they can. Yeah, with the Warriors, Draymond's already
totally can, and you never know if somebody gets hurt.
And
again,
bounced for a game. Curry's gone cold. Thompson's gone cold. Poole's gone cold. Like. They're susceptible to Memphis's unrelenting.
They can happen. They're totally Clay's not pulling everybody away. Like, he's still a year away, right? Like, so, he needs a full season
for next year.
Yeah, like sure. He's gonna be great because of what he does, and but he's not gonna take over Clay like 40 and a quarter Clay yet. Still brutal injury. Yeah, brutal injury. But he's half a Clay, 20 points every now and then. It's killer for them. They need that. There's no way to get past Memphis without him. I think both of these series, I think Bucks go 6 against the Celtics, and I think the Warriors go with Memphis 6. But I think unless barring again an injury or something like that, I think Warriors win it 4-2 going away, unfortunately. As much as I like John Morant, I think this is that building block, though, that you have to do in the NBA for whatever, where, you have to you just find that extra piece. You get that veteran, or they're going to get that shooter that following year, and then it's going to be like, oh my God, of course, like, you're like,
damn it, names.
Yeah, you need some veteran presence. They're a really young team. You get a veteran shooter some way down the stretch that like kills for them. Maybe they, maybe they even trade for. No, they don't want
Duncan
Gobert.
Robinson
They need like somebody
out
that can shoot off
bench.
Like that's a big guy. Maybe.
Yeah, get something back in return.
Well, he just got paid too. They might be willing to
there's plenty of stuff. There's time,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
There's so much time. That's why it's just sad because, again, how do you not like Ja Morant?
Also, we should probably talk about, we've not talked about it at all.
Shitting on people.
I feel like it's rude of us not to. Bulls next year, healthy. What's that 4-guard lineup going to look like? Is it going to be good? It was pretty good before they got hurt. They have no defense.
Yeah, it was. They were pleasantly surprising.
What if you swap out Vucevic for Gobert?
And
because they don't need anything else.
Like
they do have shooting.
Maybe you need more shooting though. They don't.
They do. Lonzo Ball.
They had a whole bunch of mid-range shooting. They don't have like
Zach LaVine,
3-point shooting.
Alex Caruso.
Oh God.
You think?
How do you think
he disappears?
You think Zach LaVine? I think Zach LaVine gets lost in this trade. I think he's gone. I think he's traded. Yes, unfortunately. I think they get stuff for him this way. Maybe he goes to the Hawks. Maybe he goes, somewhere and just
I would see LaVine for Bogdanovic.
They probably won't do it in the East.
That'd be nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Give them some real 3-point shit. Again, I just don't think people just know how to use bug. Yes, I think we should. That shit should
make him the new Joakim Noah.
Gobert should be on the East anyway. Like, just let Jokic have the centers in the West, and you go to the East, and you're with Bam and or you just Brooke Lopez of the world, and you'll be right there. You'll still be in the playoffs. Yes.
I think that'd be fun. I'd like to watch that team.
Yes. Yeah, you'll be just fine.
I like to watch that Hawks team. I would like,
Yeah, I think so. I know you liked the Bulls. I know you were rooting. I know you were there, thinking that how getting 3 guards going to work immediately, and and they did. Yeah, people love DeRozan, bitch, still alive, and everybody has so much respect for that guy.
It's not only is still alive.
Yeah,
all the bullets.
Dude, he is great. He's going to get his once. He's going to eventually get a title. He's going to go.
Worth every penny. God.
So what do you think? So you think, LeBron's going to at least have one more year in LA? You think that's
he's not even in next? That's for off-season.
That's true. He is not in.
As far as him coming to any of these teams, nobody on these teams wants him. I don't think he serves any purpose on any of these teams that are in the semifinals.
No,
I don't think he even serves teams that were in the previous round. I don't think he makes anybody better. Sorry.
No, that's not what they're looking for. All these teams have obviously they're good. They have leaders. You need somebody who needs a leader, right?
One of the best trades in NBA history.
That's what the Suns needed. They got Chris Paul. What do we say? Oh, there's
nobody liked it. Nobody liked it. They thought he'd be shipped off.
Yeah, title contender. Maybe
worth it. Worth every penny.
Because the money was too high.
Nobody knows anything.
Yeah. That's so crazy, but so worth it. Yes, exactly. If he can just stay healthy, Chris Paul, good Lord, stay healthy to the fucking finals at least. Make a good run for
Take
Booker.
It easy,
Don't fucking get, your hip break in game 3 or game 4 and that. Yeah, Western Conference Final. This is all his karma for all the dick punching. I feel the way this keeps happening is because he keeps dick punching people. But come on, man, get it together. Get it together. Make it to the conference finals all
what
the
about
way
this?
through
We haven't really
healthy.
talked about
Help
this. We
Devin
mentioned
Booker.
the name. We haven't
Please,
really gotten
God.
into it. What about Luka Doncic on the Nikola Jokic diet? Dude's ripped. He's like more muscular. He's able to run for 48 minutes. Remember when neither of those guys could go up and down the court, and in the fourth quarter you knew they were gassed, and now they're like, nah, I'm going to keep going.
Oh yeah, well,
I don't think he's losing weight. Oh, he's got a wide body. He's gonna be a rectangle no matter what.
He's a little chunky. He's gonna just
yeah. There's always a little
slab. Those European guys never
solid.
get completely ripped, right? It's like they're just it just comes. But they bang. Yeah, exactly. Jokic could take the punishment, keep banging. You know, like. Even with the little flab, but the way he again can get the ball out because of his fingertips and everything, he's one of the best passers I've ever seen at his size. Like it's insane. Like oh my god, he's and just again like when he has to throw it up because just nobody's open, he still swishes it when it looks like it's
he had 2 dunks late in the fourth quarter plus a 3. Those were things he couldn't do early this year. His fitness is up, and like that was the one strike. Like there was a possession where he blocked Chris Paul being crafty on a jumper, where he nearly intercepted the pass getting to Paul. Stayed on as he did like multiple dribbles and cuts and like hop, skips, jumps, and then blocked the shot. I'm like his athleticism is coming along because he's losing that chunkiness or the fat, but he's still got the weight because he's getting muscle back. I'm like, wait, is Luka about to be like a worthwhile, not a great, but like not a negative defender?
No, but I think when he can start trusting his teammates more, I think he's not taking like plays off, but he's just not being completely ball dominant every single
he's
possession.
Definitely learning, but there's also, it's a completely different body than he had
left down the stretch.
Yeah.
Yes, I agree with you with that.
And again, remember when Jokic lost weight during the shutdown? And then the next year he was even skinnier and like more like quicker, faster, stronger. Yeah. But his body changed completely. Like that could be where Doncic is next year.
His footwork again. Yeah. And again, like they still love it. You can see that they work in the off season on footwork, on ways of like just getting the ball around the hoop, shooting, doing little finger rolls, like just getting more efficient shots, like in the mid range. He knows he's not great at 3. He's not taking as many. And they got back into this game, like you said, like just making good plays down the stretch. They just fell into a hole so early. It just couldn't get out of it. Like they never got to go on a full run without eventually Phoenix, like Crowder hitting a 3 or like Mikal Bridges, like coming up with a steal and a dunk, and that just thwarted their little thing. But I think they win a game or two. Like obviously, in the first round, the Suns like lost a few. Obviously, they lost Booker for 2 games, but I think ultimately, like Dallas is going to make this a series at some point. But I think it's going to, again, I think it goes 6. I think the only one that doesn't could be the Heat 76ers just because of.
I can see Milwaukee, Boston going
and like
but
again,
at the
it's
same time,
so unfortunate. He's going to have a massive.
He doesn't lose easy.
God, dude, just in this, they just played Kevin Durant. They made him look feeble, and that's supposedly the best scorer on the planet. And Giannis just had his way. He could reset at the top of the key and do 3 or 4 steps and get to the basket at ease whenever he wanted on the left or the right. And they did a good job of not fouling him a lot, but he was just getting what he wants. Now they might switch that up and get more physical and send him to the line more. I would assume they're going to try to do that like other teams have before.
These whole playoffs,
as he's
it's been
proven,
fun seeing what the Pelicans can do without Zion, who may or may not want to be there anymore. Like they're like, you know what? If you don't want to be here, we're going to do it ourselves. We don't need you for this.
They could get. That's why. That's another thing. If you can get stuff for Anthony Davis, imagine what you can get for Zion, and just continue to build. Again, David. I'm losing his name. The GM for
I don't remember.
The Pelicans was the GM for Cleveland. To help LeBron get there and everything, which I'm losing his name and it'll come to my mind. But he's really good GM. Like he knew what he wanted and he got what he needed, and he's getting those pieces that they can build around. And like you said, maybe
his whole career is just
Ingram is becoming FU season. Yeah, I mean, and again, like I think everybody kind of thought that he had that potential. Maybe Lonzo did, maybe even Kuzma to some degree, but collectively, it didn't seem like they worked together. And so it seems like now that they're all kind of in their relative own areas, it obviously seems like, they're all flourishing.
Being a backup to the greatest
Kuzma doesn't
player
have
of all
to
time.
deal with, the
and
pressures
like sometimes he plays
of
power
LA.
forward too, but he's usually a small forward. And he scores 28 points in the preseason, so we expect that every game. Like,
but he showed great athleticism, played pretty good D. Like, he didn't have to worry like, I'm in the right area. Like, is this right? Like, he could just be him. And I think that's the same thing for Ingram. I think that's the same thing for Lonzo if he can get healthy. I think the sky's the limit for all those guys, and it's good that they're out pieces. If he gets, Ingram can even step it up a notch, right? He can be a way better shooter, really find his game, and if he gets some help out there, and I don't even know if it's Zion, I really think they should trade him and get him
what a guy
with McCollum and him. Like maybe that's the thing. Maybe you get or something like that. You just get him like a really good defensive guy. Valanciunas is like okay, but he's on the end of his career. Like he had some really good years, but I don't know again if how much up and down the quarter defense like he really has. They probably need a defensive stopper, one or two. Mikal Bridges type would be great on that team. Like just somebody to stop one of the best scorers on the other team and give you a chance.
So much firepower
going the other way,
so much
because McCollum and him together.
Brandon Ingram looks like he's like 130 pounds, and he's just powering through dudes in these playoffs.
Yes. He totally is. And he's just
and then
my God. He just
and then we got the Timberwolves.
I can get to my spot. I can turn around.
That big three looking fucking good. Anthony Edwards made a leap like his dunk last year. That's how much of a leap he made this year.
I would assume Anthony Edwards turned into oh my God. And how big and thick he is this year. He was so much more muscular than I remember in just a year. That guy's just going to get better and better and better. And clearly, he is that leader of that team.
Beautiful.
As much as we believe in KAT, he is clearly, and again, there's another one of the he be the best player on the team?
But him as a second best player is real nice
contender.
Like he's still the best player, but like not the lead guy. And that's nothing wrong with that. I don't think there's anything wrong with being the best player who takes the backseat to somebody who sees the game better.
Well, it's just how the game flows, right? It's like the same thing for Jokic. Is like, we see how great he is without Murray, but you see why Murray's so important, or why a scoring point guard is. It's just you need somebody who can open the floor and make it easy, and then somebody who can make defensive stops down the stretch. And Cat can probably do that, and he's he can shoot threes, so they'll figure it out. we'll just see if they bring D'Lo back, which I would assume they do.
Yeah, they definitely do that. A little bit more veteran leadership as well.
Pick up some more like depth for them right there. And again, they're another team. Yeah, they're one of those that just needs some veteran leadership. And
when the playoffs started, we're like, the Nets were a 7 seed. This is going to be like a battle. Then you're like, you know what? The Nets were properly seeded at 7. Turns out, this is. I mean, if you haven't watched the NBA for a few years, this is the playoffs. You're like, I rediscovered the NBA.
Again. Well, this is again what we always try to say and what we don't want to happen, right? You don't just get to add a superstar and it just works. Like you have to play, you have to have some cohesiveness, and a good team always beats 2 good players. Like it just always does. A good team is going to be 2 players. Boston's better than them. Boston just got slotted in a tough position of who they had to play. But I think overall it's the 76ers were, like you said, where they were supposed to be. Sure, maybe Milwaukee kind of ducked the Nets, but I don't really think so. I think it just doesn't matter. Like they just, I think they were trying to more just rest their guys and realize that, hey, we just won. We don't have to prove anything to anybody, and we're just going to do it our way, and we're going to do it LeBron's way, and we're going to say, hey, we're not going to sweat trying to have the best record in the league. We're just going to go out and be ready for the playoffs when it's time and do our thing. And the Bucks are doing it. The Bucks, nobody wanted to talk about them. They just won the championship because it's easier to talk about the Nets, and it's easier to talk about LeBron. And even the Suns are getting some disrespect.
It's like, no, man, we are barbecue, low and slow.
No. Yeah, they're like, but we want to go to Milwaukee. Yeah, nobody wants to go to Milwaukee. We want to go to New York or LA, and it's like, no, bitch, you're going back to Milwaukee, and maybe even Phoenix. You guys are just going to have to deal with it. Yeah, oh yeah, I think they deserve better, but yes, it's definitely Milwaukee's best, and not light.
All right, so I don't know if you heard the cracking sound of me opening a second beer. I'm going old school on this.
I did.
Yeah. Going with Sierra Nevada Pale
It's a good podcast if you're opening 2 beers. Oh.
This is my 4th and the 4th pack that I bought last year. Let's see. 5, 6, 21. So like a year almost on the day at this point.
Yeah, I think because that.
And
wow, yeah,
I struggle with every
it
single
in
can
October
of it.
when I went there for Oktoberfest.
They were still. I enjoy it, but I was like, you know what? This is old school basketball. Let's drink a malt liquor. How about that? Got some Colt 45 for that ass.
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Well, you're just
so
talking
sweet.
about Giannis.
It's so sweet.
It's just making it feel
it's so corn
block,
sweet. It's so much. Is it?
Oh yes. It's
6.8%. Why can't this be like
8.6? Hard alcohol level. You're trying to get there quick, buddy.
It's so thick.
I agree. Felt like Boulevard Brewing made a malt liquor beer, and that's gonna.
Well, Drake said that E40 malt liquor. I never had it, but I was talking to the brewer, and he's like, "Oh yeah, we bought like the most expensive yeast possible, and like just went crazy with it." It was, yeah. He's like, "I want to make it like a refined beer, but also a malt liquor." Like specialty corn, the most expensive. He's like, I looked at the yeast thing. I'm like, what's the most expensive yeast? That's what we're using, like a champagne yeast.
Yeah, might as well.
Like, we have to make 40 bottles, and those aren't readily available. You have to, because they all became plastic over the years. Like, we got to get a glass one, and then make that fit our like filling system, which it doesn't. Like, but
no. Oh man. But yes, those beers were amazing. I love an occasional malt liquor one. But again, when I'm trying to get toe up, that's always a good one. Like it's
have
gonna
a good
be
time.
sweet. You don't want it to be your
that
first
time
beer.
has passed.
You want it to be like your fourth or fifth beer. Yeah, and didn't realize that. Yeah, once as soon as you made that decision, that the bad decisions were happening. Like now the night has turned. I think I have a story like that really quickly where I was drinking with a buddy. We were having a fantastic time, completely wasted. Went to the liquor store to show off my my place that was by my old house that he had really good beer, and we saw a Dogfish
the 120 minute or whatever
beer that was like 16%.
Yeah.
It was something else. It was when they were experimenting at the time, and it was like, you know what? That sounds like a great idea when we're already plastered, is to have a 16%. And we literally had it, and we were disgusted. We were disgusted just trying to drink it, and we were already drunk. And it was just because it was just too much. It was like, you're better off just having whiskey at that point, or whatever you're gonna have. Like, it would have been way better off, like, pop off bottle vodka.
Oh yeah, I feel like it's like a really thick, syrupy beer.
I'm pretty sure it was like raisin,
super chewy, just like.
Yes,
you could never be cold no matter how much you throw in the freezer. It's still kind of.
It was completely the opposite.
Oh yeah. Oh, I remember those Dogfish Head days.
It probably happened 15 years ago, and it still holds. Oh, and that's where I knew. I was like, they cannot be trusted. I was like, as much as I love Dogfish Head back at that time, they
the Dogfish Head days of summer, where you shouldn't drink that beer in summer. Like drinking a Palo Santa Marone, and it's like 9.5% brown ale.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. You're not having a sequence. Don't drink anything because you're
dehydration while you're drinking something. Try Dogfish Head.
And your palate.
Part of the San
They're a
Adams
conglomerate, man. They did it. They figured it out. They took over the Midwest. Yes.
Oh, sorry, Boston Beer Company.
Now. Yeah, it's not bought out because we got bought by Craft.
The one guy who's like, we don't.
Yes, we got bought by Craft Brewers. So
technically, we put the label, so I'll stick with it. Of craft beer, yeah.
Right. If we get bought by the Elon Musks of beer brewing,
like, where'd you come from? Oh, I came from Big Beer, but I decided to make my own one particular beer back when nobody was brewing this stuff, and then. I figured I would make a different lager, call it a American lager.
Brewing beer, so that makes me
a Boston lager. And then I would be different than the American lagers that are European
Boston
lagers.
Lager. Not American.
And that was the entire brand American. For like 15 years. And he's like, oh, I guess I should.
Right. Yeah. Pretty much. And he could get away with it because he knew how egotistical Bostonians are.
Yeah.
That they would just be like, that sounds great. Our beer's better than your beer.
Yeah.
Even if it's not, we're just going to claim it because that's how much stupid
we
pride
haven't talked
we have.
About this thing that's basketball-ish. Winning Time. You still watching it? So good. It's so good.
I am still watching it. It is so good. I haven't watched the latest episode, but I am at the point
Spoilers
where
to anybody listening. No one is.
Last talk. Spoiler alert. Is that since the coach had an accident,
he might be the
bicycle accident. I've seen one other episode since then, and so I've only seen maybe two. I might be too blind. One or two. And so I watched the episode after that one. But where he was telling him they needed to get through Boston. And if we
Now,
got through
let me ask you
Boston,
this.
blah,
I
blah,
know
blah. That was the first
last episode
Larry Bird
we talked
episode.
about, I can't wait to see
Great.
how they get to
Yeah,
Pat Riley as
killer,
Pat Riley
killer
looks
show.
right now. Now, I know you've seen this. They spoil it. How do you feel about it?
It's a fictional story to some degree. But it uses like real life data.
But you're like, how did they get to the slick back hair, like big bravado guy, and they just use like flash forwards in the mirror? How do you feel about it?
I like it because I guess in a way though,
Yeah.
they're kind of trying to say like his father's persona kind of takes over at some point. Like his father was some hard ass and he's always trying to prove to him that he was great. Like, like there's, this anti-hero story where it's just like, even though he was a professional and he just never felt like he amounted to anything to whatever his dad think. And then there's just, this constant mental struggle.
Yeah, I was like, man, we could have seen this like
he just
season.
takes
I
on
think
that
maybe it's
persona.
just hedging bets of not getting renewed long enough to actually get to that reveal. Like, let's do it. We've got Adrian Brody playing Pat Riley. We got to show him being Pat Riley. No matter what happens, we got to show it.
Yes.
Oh my God.
They have cast. The cast is insane, man. McKay must have.
Yeah,
I mean,
the guys
did people
they got
just bend over
everybody.
backwards to be on
It's
this?
incredible.
Like, I don't know, but this is like Pandemic too, and he's like crazy good actors, great, like the storylines, everything,
you can't
how they're
get better than
shooting it.
Chelsea
Obviously,
Riley.
we talked about. I think in the beginning,
a master.
Like it's so. No, that's his buddy too. Like, but John C. Reilly's so good. He's so believable as Buzz.
Yeah,
and the one who plays Jeannie Buzz, she's great.
Oh my God. And he's like a former
guy who plays Magic Johnson.
I was like, we'll see what happens. And I'm like, oh, this guy's like got acting chops, and he looks like him, and he comes across on screen.
Yes,
so he pops.
All the bravado. Yes, and again, all the bravado, the smiling constantly.
Yeah, and when he's like got to be more serious,
he smiles
at
every
like
turn.
I buy it 100%.
It looks great. It doesn't look forced.
All the emotions that this guy's going through, all his struggles, internal and external.
Totally. Yeah. Such a good show. Like, but that's worth again. That's worth the subscription alone, like the content that they're going to do with that. It's just really good. And they also have some really good sports docs on there as well. Magic Bird doc is on there on HBO Max. Kareem's story is on HBO Max. Very good, like little behind the scenes stuff of all the stuff he deals with. And I like that little thing that they did with Kareem where you kind of see like why he's this surly guy.
God. What a
when
monster
he's just
scene.
like, I don't get why he's so happy. Like, why does none of this bother him? Such a great thought process in him talking to Magic Stat. It was just again so great. I thoroughly again enjoyed it, and it just made me want more and more. And it didn't seem like a forced, like all of a sudden we're best friends. It was just more like it was like an epiphany in a way where it was like, I have problems with how the world sees us, but I also am jealous at how you don't let that affect you and your happiness, and just like not fully turning around, but just supporting him. Like it was perfect.
And it's really funny because you watch that show and you're thinking Bruno Dual's bar is like 40 in this scene, and he's 18, right? And it's not. Kareem's like 34.
Right.
yeah, oh yeah, like 30. Yeah, sorry,
No.
my math was wrong. You're right. He was like 30.
No,
It's
Korea's
only an
like
11-year
30.
difference, but
Yeah,
what happened
30.
in the world in those 11 years is so massive that like, yeah, it's just like this is how quick this happened.
Right. Yes. Like that's the other thing you also forget, like the 70s and the 80s are happening, and it's like it's not all, free love and Woodstock everywhere, right? It's like there's a lot of stuff going on, and you're dealing with Muhammad Ali, and you're dealing with the war, just in like all this different kinds of stuff, and like obviously race riots and everything going on, and the fact that people and just how the sports guys were dealing with it, and not even all of them, just like again how they individually kind of were just dealing with stuff was amazing. And again, this is like the NBA still even trying to figure out if it's a success or not. Because one team was just winning. If you didn't live in that area, did you not, they weren't getting fully televised everywhere. Like it was just a different time. And so to see again how this is all built on strings and promises and all of that is just so crazy. And it makes you unfortunately want to root for the Lakers. And again how the story ends, and to keep me interested, and just again like Better Call Saul and all these, like where it's like you already know what happens, and it still makes it worth
and for
watching.
All us Laker haters, you still know that those early 90s happened.
Superb. Everything's great.
So the Cedric Ceballos era, which to be fair, I love Cedric Ceballos.
Exactly. They do.
I mean. The iconic
I
players,
did too. I love me
Eddie Jones, who got lost in the shuffle. One of the great. Come on, just give Eddie Jones his due. Stop trying to force Eddie Jones into what he's not and forcing him out of what he is. I loved Eddie Jones. Great guy. All right, we got
a lot of that. Unfortunately,
we did good.
Yeah, I think we did good. I'm very happy. We got everything. This so we're expecting Heat Bucks. Yep. Yeah. Heat Bucks for me.
I'm
Warriors,
taking the Grizzlies.
I hate to pick chalk, but I mean this is just where
in
it
7.
Happens.
I'm calling. Although God, if you kick to 7, Golden State's like we've been here 9 million times. Oh, what have I done? All right, I'm saying it. Memphis, Phoenix.
Way to take.
Yeah, that's the
one. I'm not hating.
I'm going to give it.
If there was one team to upset, I would say Memphis. Yes.
All right.
Right. I like it.
We got to do our outro stuff. Phil, where can they find you?
All right, brother. Oh, I'm on social media, on Twitter, through Peter Parkour and Culinary Lando on Instagram. Still doing food occasionally on there, and just trying to come out of this pandemic. We're doing pretty good so far. Let's keep it that way. I mean, people are still getting it, but it seems like everybody's surviving, so that's a good thing. So
we did forget. We did forget to say what players these beers were.
All our other
so I've got my friends in high places, Tilted Mash Almanac West Coast Pilsner. When I was drinking it, I'm like, okay, this is a futuristic Pilsner, super hoppy, like an IPA, but with a Pilsner base, kind of like a Ja Morant, he's got that. But then as I was drinking it, the hops collided with the Pilsner base to become like this really thick, sweet thing that I wasn't really a fan of as it warmed up. And I'm like, oh, this thing's kind of cratering at the last second, like Trae Young.
I see what you did there. I like it. No, I'm going to say this Aimless Pils, very crispy, very light.
Great.
Pilsner report cards, and this is where mine's going to shift slightly. Mine's going to be a ball dominant player. It's uncharacteristic. Like, this is a very good beer, and you just don't know why it's so good. And I'm going to compare it to Doncic, where Doncic, again, doesn't look like the fleetest of foot, doesn't look like the biggest guy, but he gets the job done. He's so young. He's going to figure out his shots, get better in shot selection. But he's not down. He's not below being creative and figuring out a way to win. He just needs to figure out a way to use his teammates better. And at least he knows he has one in Brunson. Maybe they can get one more.
Everybody else on the team
Finney
is like,
Smith is a little
come and go.
Hit or miss. Yeah, here or there. They're all like, They need a third.
Yeah.
They really need a guy.
No more big threes. Let's bring in the NBA
Maybe
triples.
they get Gobert. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Like, you only need two of them at a time, really, but a third one's nice to have here and there.
Really, but it's like if you have two homegrown
bring in a third
playmakers, and then you bring in a third, it's not quite the same. They don't. Just come on, just get it done, guys.
That's the problem. You got three mouths to feed all the. But the nice part of the triple, you only need two of them to work at a time. Yeah. And the third one's just a bonus sometimes.
True. Yeah. That's true. Like, if you want to win, your center has to be your fourth best player.
All right, we can
make the playoffs.
All right. So I'm Ben Rice. You can follow me across social media, Barley Me Pod. Check out my regular ass beard podcast, Barley Me, if you want to. But mostly this, I think. I don't know where I'm going with any of my podcast stuff or social media or comedy. I'm kind of in a whatever is happening is happening. Yeah.
We're going to get to Sonoma Springs at some point. They've been calling us. Want us to go out.
But don't forget, you can slide into our GMs at Please Dunk Responsibly on Instagram, at Please Dunk Pod on Twitter. Email us at pleasedunkresponsibly@gmail.com. An email I have not checked in months. It's got to be 6 months at this point since I've checked that email.
Yes.
I think I did check it like 3 months ago. Like, it's been a while. See if there's anything. Nope.
Yeah,
we
should probably do that.
So that's we don't even do an episode numbers anymore. I think this is the sixth one of the 2021-2022 season, and we're in the postseason. It's supposed to be every other week. We did not nail it. We had a whole plan about how to go around that. We didn't do it at all. Don't have children, own homes, work jobs, have dreams, want to sleep. Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Please don't
have responsibilities. Is being responsible.
It's easier when you don't have other responsibilities to do that.
Yes, but don't
we have myriad responsibilities. And then we have to make those responsibilities not line up at the same time to do this.
Unfortunately,
So Monday night at 10, the normal time you record a podcast, 10 p.m. on a Monday.
Yeah. Yeah, no, hey, it was perfect. You got the first games in, and we're somewhat still alive.
Right,
and
so
we only have
that's
work
the episode.
Tomorrow.
I'm Ben Rice.
Yeah.
Reminding you to please.
And I'm Phil Webster.
Dunk responsibly.
Dunk responsibly. Good job.